Hey, beautiful mama. Welcome to the Radiant Mom Rising podcast, where we believe you were never meant to just survive. You were born to shine. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, life coach, mom of three, and your biggest cheerleader in creating a life and business you love. Each week, we dive into real conversations about mindset, motherhood, healing, and purpose, helping you break free from overwhelm, rediscover your worth, and rise into the confident, radiant woman you were meant to be. Because when moms rise, the world rises with us. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's get ready to rise together.
Hey, 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 welcome to our second talk show episode with my buddies Shauna and Mary. We are so excited to talk today about the power of the process and how we become the next version of ourselves through the journey of becoming instead of just overnight success or microwave success that sometimes we so often crave. So, before we jump into the juiciness, let's go ahead and introduce my guests. Mary, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Mary Dibble. I'm a wife, mom of three, life coach for moms, and the host of Radiant Mom Rising podcast. I'm just all about empowering moms to believe in themselves, love themselves, and to create their best life and business.
Heck yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. Shauna?
Hey, I'm Shauna B. I am a mom of four. I work outside the home and I'm a life coach. I'm a burnout intervention and overthinking, stopping, flipping the script of that mean girl inside so you can get to your goals that you really want to get to. And I'm also the host of a Release Your Inner Power podcast.
Boom. I love it. And I'm Mary Beth, the host of the Fierce Framework podcast. I'm all about helping women break out of the mold society tells us we're supposed to fit into so we can stop going through the motions, start digging more into what lights us up, and start living a life that we're actually excited about. So you have the trifecta of women empowering women right here. Let's dive in, guys. So, to kind of provide context of what I really want to get into, I think so often we crave an instant success or more success than we're experiencing. And success can mean different things to everybody. And so I'm using that as whatever that means to you. But so often I find us we're measuring ourselves against where we think we should be or some standard, and we get frustrated that we're not there yet. And I want to dig into what if that's the most beneficial though? What if the person I was now, it wouldn't be able to handle the success I want or I think I want? And what if I need the journey and the process to actually become the person who can benefit from that and steward that well instead of maybe crumbling under it, or kind of like child stars, right? They get that success but they're not prepared to handle it. What do you guys think? Do we have initial thoughts?
Oh my God, this is exactly something I love teaching people and even working on myself because I think this is where it's all at right here, what you just said, because this is what I love helping people to do is to enjoy the journey and trust that everything we're going through, all the times that nobody shows up for your launches, all the times you feel like you failed or things aren't working out or people say no to you, it's all preparing you and molding you so that, like you say, you can carry that success that you can also really, empathize with your clients because you'll get it. Like you'll understand what it's like. And also looking at other people's success and the people that you are, who you look up to right now, they all will tell you they've been right where you are too. Everyone goes through this. I think it's all part of the process. And this is why it's so powerful, like you say, to be able to have these conversations and understand, yeah, it sucks sometimes and it's hard, but without this, we will not become who we're meant to be and actually be able to serve those we're meant to serve.
That's so good. And I love that you bring up the relatability too, because it's
Yeah.
how can you
Yeah.
help someone through something you've never been through?
Exactly.
That's good. Thank you.
I like this topic and what you said because there's two things here, right? There's expectation and what we want to be and want to get to. And I think that it's important that we have that it is important that we know what we're actually working towards and getting clear on that because the journey can get messier without the clarity at the end, right?
Yeah.
Now, is the clarity at the end going to change? Probably, and that's okay. That's part of it, right? That's part of shifting and going on a new path, if you will. But coming from that place of knowing what you want is how your journey kind of unfolds, if you will, one step at a time. You're not going to be able to see those opportunities and situations that come up for you without knowing where you actually want to be. I think the trick is, or that I've found talking to many people, is the pressure and what I call the dragon that comes in that tries to keep you in the familiar because that's where it's comfortable. And so to honor, like both of you are saying, to honor the journey and the steps that you're taking is like part of the process of learning and having more tools in your belt, if you will, once you get there. Because a lot of us want, like, we want this, we want to have, I don't know, 20 clients a month and blah, 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 all this stuff, right? Speaking from an entrepreneurial perspective. And then if we just got 20 clients, you'd be like, whoa, hold on. Like it would be like you'd you'd
Wow.
figure it out because that's what we do as human beings, right? We figure it out and it'll be messy along the way, what have you. But I feel like taking the steps to get there, you're going to feel more prepared, confident, strong, all of those things when you're taking the baby steps to build that. And it's
Hmm.
reminding yourself about the journey, about the steps, but then also looking back and seeing how far that you have come so you know how much progress you've actually made. So it doesn't feel like you're
Mm.
stuck, right?
Yeah.
This is a journey. You know that there's this that you've covered and then we have this to go. And all of it is okay because all of it is making you stronger, better, and, preparing you for the end goal.
Yeah. I love that. I like what you were saying about like the 20 clients. Like, sometimes you need to start out with a couple clients and kind of iron out some things and put some systems into place. Otherwise, you could have 20 clients overnight and they might all have a bad experience because you're in over your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things too that like we doesn't get enough credit is like being able to fail small or being able to like pivot without a huge audience being like, what is happening? That's one of the things that I feel like is like really freed me up on social media specifically because it's like, well, if I have a faux pas or if I decide to randomly start talking about something else, like it's only a few people who are gonna be like, wait, what is she doing now? Instead of like having instant success and a million followers and then that I feel stuck doing something because I don't want to lose my followers. It's like you have
Yeah.
the privilege to be able to like fail or pivot because you don't have this huge stage that like we think we want. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't realize the freedom too. Like when it is
right.
just you in the beginning, you have more of a freedom to change things, to make things be on your time. Because as you build your business and you start having to hire teams and hire help, then you have other people now that you have to account for, that you have to be responsible for, that you have to communicate with, and it's a whole
Mhm.
nother ball game with that. So
Yeah.
I do think it's there's something powerful and being okay and trusting that you're exactly where you're meant to be. But at the end of the day, like what Shauna was saying, it's like having that end result vision of
Mhm.
always knowing what you're working towards keeps you motivated, keeps you going. But at the same time, too, having support. I think that is something that so many people are afraid of, to ask for help,
Mhm.
to have that support, to lean on people. I'm guilty of it. It's something I had to work through on my own journey, but it's been the best decision I ever made because not only has it allowed me to face myself truly, but it's helped me to release it and move forward and keep going in all those times that I'm like questioning, am I really cut out for this? Should I be doing this? Who am I? All those like brain dragons, like you say, Shauna, it was haunting so many of us. And
Mhm.
without having people like you and my coach and things like that, I wouldn't be as strong as I am today and have, like you say, the tools and everything I need so that when that happens to me, I know how to deal with it now in a more
Mhm.
confident and peaceful way than before, where it destroy me. It would destroy me in the
Yeah.
past, for sure.
That's sort I love how you talk about it as freedom too, to be able to like kind of figure those things out. And that's such a
Yes.
powerful reframe. Because I think that's part of like that's a huge part of why so many of us want to be entrepreneurs is for that freedom. And so being able to recognize like I'm still on my way, but I do have this key piece
Oh
that
yeah.
I've always wanted.
Speaking of reframe, I like how you said in the beginning, whatever success means to you. And then as you're taking this journey and failure, what does that mean? Like, is it failure or is it learning? Is it failure or is it information? Is it, you know what I mean? Like what does that what is failure? I remember at one point somebody was asking me about that and I couldn't answer it. And I don't know if it's because I've done a lot of work on my brain dragons and reframing, but I don't look at it as like, oh my gosh, I failed, like this isn't meant for me. It's like that way just doesn't work for me. That doesn't mean it's not the end goal is still not my goal. It could be, it's just might not be that path. It might be a different one. And so it's like,
It's
even
powerful.
in the most difficult times or things don't go the right way, or you feel like I have failed massively, or whatever the pressure is that you are putting onto yourself, what can I learn from this, or what is in this scenario and situation
Hmm.
that I can take, learn from, and kind of like you might just pivot just 2 degrees and you
Hmm.
could be like soaring just from this one thing that may not have worked out in your expectation or what have you, but it might be there to make the situation better. So it's interesting how our minds will go to the negative with it instead of reframing it to like, what could I use from here to for the better, and what do I know is not for me, and I can pitch that and let it go. And so I to me it's like super important to really take it in and reframe that, and not always just be rowing in the negative boat when things don't work out so well, because it might not be a negative, but if we're framing it and giving us our story and saying that it is negative, what are you going to get out of that?
Yeah.
Are we,
Absolutely.
are we gonna get the fun stuff out of that? No. We're like setting ourselves up for just like continually rowing in this boat. So let's get out of that and like flip the script, if you will.
Truly. I really think that like you only fail when you stop trying. Like when you give up on it.
Yeah.
Like everything else, it's just learning, pivoting, whatever. Like because also like where did this idea come from? This standard that like we expect everything to go like it's so unrealistic, but it's
Right.
so pervasive.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if this is actually a normal, like a completely normal way to learn things? Like, what if most people weren't good at something they just started out at? Like,
Huh, who would have thought, right?
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. I think it's funny though, because like in this day and age with everything being instantaneous and like social media and stuff and like highlight reels, that's
Hmm.
what you see in front of you. And so it adds the pressure. So I like how you're like,
yeah,
what if? Yeah, it's almost like let's come back to reality and not what you're seeing, but what you're knowing, experiencing, feeling, all those things.
yeah. And that's part of why I'm so passionate about like talk this stuff like this, just
Yeah.
real conversations, talking about the process. Because it's like, I think the people who are like going through it or just starting out or have a smaller audience, right? Like you literally have a smaller audience. So not as many people are seeing like the normal everyday people. But once somebody like blows up or you have like an anomaly or whatever, then that's the person with the more visibility because, they have the bigger audience. So then like that's what becomes normal instead of the normal people with the normal size audience and the normal size business that they're starting. And yeah, so I think this is so powerful to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Mary, I felt like you were going to say something and I might have cut you off. So I want to give you a
No,
chance. Okay.
you're good. No, you're just, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I think it is so important for us to, like I said, honor where we are and be real with it. And it's nice to have these conversations because it's just a reminder for us
Mhm.
that we are
Mhm.
exactly where we're meant to be. This is part of the process. And that's what they mean when they say trust the process and allow things to unfold as they're meant to be. Like I hear so many amazing stories I have on this journey of just interviewing people and then, listening to podcasts and just, it's amazing how all it can take sometimes too is just being in that right place. And the reason you
Mhm.
got in that right place is because you're aligned with who you are. You listen to your intuition. You trust your gut and you just go with it. And we don't always see everything. We're not meant to, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And the more we become okay with that, the easier we'll stop blinding ourselves from the opportunities that are waiting for us to show up for. And that is why, like I said, what you said earlier about how you really don't fail unless you give up. because that's the only way. Everything else is all just, like I said, preparing us for who we're meant to be. And it can be a fun journey too if you allow it to be too. Like that, I
Mhm.
know it's not easy, but it can also be really fun. Because man, if I know me personally as someone who works from home, doesn't really have a lot of friends, mom friends. I personally, I feel like I've built my friendships and everything from just doing this and this journey. And it's been empowering for me. It makes me feel not so alone on my journey. So I do want to encourage people, especially as a mom, like if you feel like you're alone, pursuing things like this is a great way for you to put yourself out there and earn and find those people who are meant to be, truly meant to be in your circle too, you know?
I love that.
I
It's
love
super powerful.
Yeah, I think support system, I have to back you up on that. I think a support system is definitely what you need. And in any big change, whether it's a business, whether you're like reinventing your life or putting the pieces back together and moving forward, whatever it may be, or, a support system is super, super important to helping you like bridge that gap, if you will.
yeah.
I think the catch, though, that a lot of people have to work on is asking for it, right? Or knowing, like actually mapping out what your support system actually is, but then taking the step to utilize it. There is a lot of, societal like stigma that you're not strong enough if you have to have a support system. And it's interesting on why it's interesting on why, first of all, that's even a thing because, I mean, let's be real. Like, if you go back centuries, like, you have tribes and people that are supporting you all the way through life. So, for whatever reason, this whole thing got changed around in our brains. But
Capitalism.
yeah, yes. And I just think that reminding it's a lot of like internal work of reminding yourself that this is okay and this is how you get to your goals or on the other side of the storm or whatever it is through support, is leaning on that support because it's not going to be rainbows and sunshine all the time. It's not going to be 100% all the time. It's just life. And that's okay. So I love that you're bringing up support system because I also believe that it is super powerful.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't think that all these people that who are extremely successful and are not having their own coaches, do not have their own team and their own friendships that they go through, of course, or even that they don't have their own problems. I mean, a
Right.
lot of these people are going through their own stuff. I mean, including
Mhm.
like marital issues, all sorts of things, because yes, maybe they don't always expose it like like others do, but I think we're kind of getting to a point where authenticity is becoming more and more appreciated. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's so powerful too, because the more real you are with yourself, the more real you show up, again, you attract all the right people and opportunities that are actually going to amplify you and help you rise to where you're meant to be and what you're meant to do in life, rather than trying to put on a mask or trying to
Mhm.
be what this person is because oh, it's working for them, so let me try to be like her. And it's like, embrace your uniqueness. You were made the way you were for a reason. You're not a mistake. Embrace that and figure out, well, then how can I use my own superpowers or my own way
Mm-hmm.
of creating something magical in this world? And if you could see it that way and just go with it, I mean, it's amazing the opportunities that will show up for you.
I
That's
think
so
that's
true.
so important. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love that so much. I wanted to come back. I love that we're talking about support systems. And Mary, you had mentioned like how it was hard to accept support, and so did you, Shauna. So I'm curious to know like how did you get over that and start accepting help and learning to ask for help? Because I think that is a super normal like hurdle that a lot of us deal with. Do you guys have like practical tidbits that you want to share?
I
Shauna,
do.
go ahead.
So for me, like when I first started, I was, if I need a support system, then that makes me weak. Like that was
Same.
the story
Yeah.
that I was telling myself. And also, I'm like, there's not enough hours in the day. I don't even have like this is not physically possible for a person to do. And figuring out where those spots are, mapping out my support system like visually so I could see it because thinking about it, sometimes you can get in your head, right? And be like, I don't have a support system. There's nobody there. That is not reality.
So when you say mapping it out, you're like talking about making a list of people that you can count on, or
Like just a list of people in general. For example, like my kids are in sports. I also work outside of the home, as well. And so for me, like my kids need to be taken care of. And so I need a support system. I know that I need help with that. So who can help me with that? Are there people
Mm,
out there? Yes, there's other team moms that can help me with that. But putting it on paper in all the aspects of my life to see these moms are here is like the first hurdle. Now, is that voice going to come back and be like, okay, yeah, are you going to ask them? Because blah, 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 whatever, right? So then
yeah.
you got to kind of check your shit. Like, you got to be like, I'm not going to say it's just like, oh, okay. At some point, you have to check your shit. Like, you have to
Mhm.
be like, I'm asking the question. And it's going to feel awkward, uncomfortable, all the things. It's almost like you're asking somebody out on a date or something. Like, it's
But
so
you're asking
crazy.
them to pay for it also.
Yeah, yes. It's like so crazy uncomfortable
Mhm.
until you start doing it, and then it feels better, right? But then you can also, if how I did it for me was it made me feel better, and there's times when I could help them out too. So I'm like, hey, let me take your kiddo to practice, or let me watch them. So then I'm trading, so then it's like it's a win-win situation, right?
Mhm.
And so a lot of times I'll try to do that as well. Or like the people that help me out with like my watching my kiddos, like I will, buy something for them or take them to dinner or give them, like I give them extra things to show like appreciation, which also helps me feel good about asking because then they feel appreciated too. So I think
Mhm.
it's first getting past the I'm weak thing because that's a BS story. That's a BS story. Having the support system will make you stronger. So let's use it, right? So then the next step is using it. So after I mapped it out and showed it, then I'm like, I'm going to ask this person. And then I would ask this person and then see how it went. But then making sure that they feel appreciated, it's a win win situation. Then now it's not hard for me because it takes practice as anything else
Mhm.
does. And once I practiced it and started doing it more, you know, I mean, there's times now where I'm like, it'll still come up and I'm like, excuse me,
Yeah.
we're working through this. Like it's just something you have to flex. Like it's like building a muscle. You have to do the same thing. But that's how I did it was visually saw it, then actively took the step one at a time and then win-win situation.
I
Yeah.
love that. And I like how you were talking about like the reciprocity as well. Because then it's like over time you see like, oh, I'm not like being needy and draining all these people. I'm building community.
Hmm.
And like you have to get over the hurdle to get there. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
with the way we are, like we're not just gonna be a drain on the people around us.
Hmm.
Like we're also reciprocating. And then once it's like you're in it for a while, it's a lot easier to see like, oh, this is like a family and like it's actually really powerful and you created something like really valuable.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, mine's just a little different because I feel like for me, I think of what I was just afraid of like no one actually caring and
Oof.
no one showing up for me and fear of rejection. All that for me contributed to me just being quiet and keeping to myself and just kind of dealing with it on my own. But
Mhm.
actually, it was doing the inner work of really learning to recognize, first of all, I feel this way because I'm treating myself this way. I feel this way about myself. I believe that I'm not worthy. I believe that I'm not
Yikes.
someone anyone would care for. So until I just switched that narrative in my life, until I started recognizing that, oh, it starts with me. I got to love myself. I got to show up for myself. That is really where I started really feeling worthy
Mm.
and started taking like little steps of just putting myself out there, sharing my truth, asking for support. Hey, can you show me some love on this post, even if it's something as simple as that? And just getting connected more and more. Like when I would go in Facebook groups when I first started and sit on the sidelines, not say a word. I'd comment on other people. I would show up for them. I would read some of the things and feel really empowered by it, but I never spoke up myself. And
Mm.
when I started to actually do that, and then I realized the amount of support and people who were willing to show up for me too, that helped me again on that journey to recognize and realize, yes, there's people out there who actually do care. It's not just me, because that's how I am. But I didn't
Mhm.
think other people were like that either, because I have, and you will unfortunately run into those people, and that's okay.
Right.
I've actually learned that that's a good thing, because the goal is to weed out those kind of people and only bring
Right.
in people who are gonna, help uplift me and actually be there for me in the way I too will be there for them. So yeah, it was really hard for me in the beginning. I mean, it was probably
Mhm.
the greatest challenge I had, was the idea of doing lives or coming out there or
Mhm.
clicking post to that post that I wanted to share. But I'm grateful that I did, because without that, I wouldn't be here. And
Yeah.
that's at the end of the day, it's all about building that courage, is what leads to confidence. Confidence just doesn't happen overnight. It's through having that courage and being brave and just doing it anyways.
Yes. Thank you.
It's
Shallow.
like rage.
I think that's so powerful, and I think that that's so relatable. And so, thank you for being vulnerable. Because also, I was like, oh, it's resonating a little hard over here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my mind just went blank.
Yeah, so what about your story? Like, what about you?
So I am still working on it. Both of what y'all said resonated with me a lot. The story that Shauna was sharing about feeling like weak if I can't do it all and needing help. And I also deal with like a little bit of like comparison guilt of like, since I don't have kids, and I'm like, I shouldn't need help. I only have me to take care of. And then also what you were saying, Mary, about like the worthiness, you know? So yeah, I am still on this journey, but a lot of what has helped me is to actually like do less and get rid of a lot of the things that like I didn't need to be doing.
Hmm.
And then being able to like see the priorities and know that like the things I do have on my plate are valuable and important to me. And so if I am in a situation where I need help, then it's worth it. I'm not going to be asking someone for help with something that doesn't really matter, because like I don't really spend my time doing that. And then I think worthiness has just been a lot of it, because I struggle a lot with the line of like reciprocity versus like feeling like I need to earn help or support. And when I figure that out, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But just the practice. And like you were saying, like it doesn't feel good at first. You don't feel confident until you build up the courage. And then the confidence is like the byproduct, right? So it's like you just have to take that step, which is the same thing Shauna was saying. You just have to do it when it sucks. And so, yeah, this last, I don't know, year mostly, I've been just, if someone is offering to like give me something, that I'm working on just like receiving, and then feeling those feelings of like, oh my gosh, I have to pay them back, or oh my gosh, I have to make it worth their time, and working through that and being like, why? What is this? Why do we feel like we have to earn every little thing? Like, because also like, do I feel that way when I help somebody? No. So why am I projecting that onto them, that maybe they're just generous and maybe they want the opportunity to be able to support me in this way? And if when I support somebody in XYZ way, I don't want them to feel obligated. So now why am I putting that? I'm like projecting that they're making me feel that way. And it's like, no, it's all me. So anyway, this is I don't have any cool like practical tips to share because I'm in the weeds right now. But I mean, it does tie into our topic, right? Like I'm in the process and it's just doing it while it doesn't feel good and while it doesn't feel natural, and then having all those feelings come up and then working through those feelings and be like, what's going on here? Why am I feeling this way? Is this helpful? How can I reframe this? Why am I projecting onto them? Like, what's actually going on? And just practicing letting it be uncomfortable until it feels less uncomfortable.
Gosh, and that's the work, Mary Beth. I'm not
It
telling you,
is.
you go, girl. I'm serious. I mean,
It's
you
so
are so
fun.
much yeah, you're so much further than so many people, because the fact that you even know that, and not just know it, but you're willing to put it into practice, that's going to change everything for you over time. You're going to grow stronger and stronger.
It
Like you
better
said.
because it sucks. So
Right.
You're
It's
so
so
funny.
funny. I know.
Like I hear you though. I hear you though,
Yeah.
because that's the other thing too, is there's a lot of pressure on we are not allowed to feel anything negative.
Oh yeah.
Like when you're
Yeah.
sad or when you're mad or any of that stuff, it's like, oh, we don't need to do that. How do we make it
Yeah.
happy? How do we make it happy?
Yeah.
I mean, that can come later. Like
Yeah.
you said, you need to like feel into it and ask yourself some questions to have some discovery around that feeling, but also completing the feeling and not just stuffing it because, I want to give credit where credit's due, but I want to say your body keeps score. Whoever wrote that book, like that is amazing because it's
Yeah.
like you don't want to stuff that and then manifest something else in your body because you're not completing the feeling. Like
Mm.
sometimes it's not going to feel great. It's
Yeah.
not going to feel good and you need to process through it. Oh, I can give you an example of that, actually. When my older son decided to tell me that he's going into the army, I couldn't even finish the conversation because I was trying not to project my fear. And here I am, like, I can't feel bad about this. And then, like, trying to stuff my feelings. And as I get home, because I was driving when he's telling me, so I'm like, whoa, like all over the place. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we'll talk later. We'll talk more later because I also didn't want to like lose it on the phone. So
Right.
I'm holding it. And then I get home and I like let it out. And I remember having to tell myself, like, this is what I call shedding the shit. Like, I am literally crying to process through what I need to do to process my fears
Mm.
to get through this so I can be supportive in a decision that he wants to make. So I can be there and not be like,
Yeah.
or continuing my feeling, like
Mm.
prolonging it. Like, do I want to process this for a couple of hours or do I want this to be like a 2 week friggin' process? No. But allowing myself to feel all of that and going through it, it didn't feel great. I'm like moving furniture, I'm crying, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing all
Yeah.
this crazy business, but that's how I know I move it out
Mm.
Yeah.
to complete it. And then once I did that, then I can have the conversations. Then I
Mm.
can, be supportive and show up. And so sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to feel during the journey and process it and be okay with, being angry about it, being upset about it, because why? Like, what is it? I knew mine
Mm.
was fear,
Mm.
right? And then like getting real, like what are those? And then talking yourself through it is also how you can process it. And sometimes the feeling is just the beginning of the process and
Mm.
allowing yourself to do that.
Yep. Boy, you can't
Ugh.
release what you don't, you can't release what you don't even accept or even acknowledge.
Right.
Hmm.
I mean, that is why, yeah, that was one of the most powerful like exercises my coach once walked me through was like through like kind of like an inner child healing of
Mm.
really getting going to a hard place for me in my
Hmm.
past and really like talking to her that version of myself and actually giving her that chance to feel all those feelings of abandonment, of betrayal, whatever it was. And I had to sit in that and feel it. And ooh, it was emotional, it was hard, but it was amazing at the same time too to like not only go through that, but then shift to being like, now I can give her the love that she needed back then. And I
Mm.
mean, it's like these those moments, like you say, when we just face it and really like it's like you say, it shortens it. It shortens the outcome and it allows us that chance to respond. And that stuff is no joke. Like it's really, really powerful and
Hmm.
transforming and letting go, especially those who of you who might struggle with holding on to your past and really allowing that to continue to identify who you are now. Like that is something I love helping people through because I do not, it's something I've worked through is like no longer allowing my past to dictate who I am today, that I get to
Mm.
decide who I am.
So
I
good.
get to decide how my future gets to go. And it doesn't matter that I can't do nothing about it. I can't change it, but I can like be who I want to be today. And I think that's such a powerful shift for a lot of people if you can get to that point on this process of journey as you're really working to become who you want to become. That's a big part of it. You got to let go of that past. You got to, I mean, it's always going to be there, but you can't change anything about it. But you have the power to take it your life back and make it whatever you want it to. And that's huge, huge more than you realize.
Yeah, like what are the stories you're going to tell yourself now?
Yes.
Right? That
What if,
chapter is closed and done with. So what's the new chapter? What's the
yes.
story you're going to right now?
Exactly. Who are you going to be in this?
Hmm.
Who are you as a character showing up in this story? And what are the new beliefs that you're willing to take on so that you continue to go down that path? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a powerful talk. I love
I
it.
know. Ooh, I
We just
love it.
went there.
What are you doing?
Get in there. I also love like just how clearly you're painting the picture that like feeling the emotions is part of the process. Because I think so often we're taught that it's like a barrier to progress or it's like in the way. And that's why we're taught to stuff them or pretend they're not there or try to get rid of them as quickly as possible. But it's no, like it's actually an integral part of the journey and they're bringing up so many important things. And like when we're able to accept them and feel our feelings, and I love how you phrase it, Shauna. I forget how you phrase it. It's like completing the cycle
Circuit. Mm-hmm.
circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It actually allows us to like then build on that and move forward through the process. And I think that's part of why it's so important that like women have platforms and that we are like doing things in the world because these things that like we are more in touch with and like we're allowed to talk about like are actually so important for everyone. But so often like we're the ones leading the conversation because we've been able to have the experience. Yeah.
Well, it's not so isolating either, right? You feel when you are in the big feels and like, the emotions and things, it's like phone a friend time or, having these platforms to talk about it because sometimes it's so big that you have to like talk to think or, you have to run it or move it in some way. I don't know, moving furniture or whatever, whatever your thing is. But like, you have to process it in a way. And so I feel like doing that and saying the things, having these platforms, phoning a friend or whatever is also you're telling other people, like all the listeners, like you are not alone. This is all real. This is all human. This doesn't make you anything. Like don't start a story. You're a normal human being, that
Mhm.
is going through these things. And that's why these things are so powerful is because people can like kind of relax a little bit more and be like, I'm not a crazy person. I'm normal. And this is okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to complete the circuit. And it's okay to take the next step. And it's
Yeah.
okay to reach out to my people, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And you're not
Absolutely.
like silly or dumb or weak for like having feelings. Like Mary, you were talking about doing inner child work. Like these thoughts and feelings and fears, like they come from somewhere.
Hmm.
The idea that you're weak if you need help, that came from somewhere. Like we learned that somewhere. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to unlearn it instead
Mm-hmm.
of just expecting ourselves to be like, I should just be over it or this shouldn't bother me. It's like, no, you picked that up
Yes.
somewhere. You were taught that somewhere, somewhere along the road journey, you were taught that you're not worthy of help or that if someone helps you, you have to pay them back or you're weak if you accept like so it actually makes sense that it's a process to then unlearn those things because I think so often we expect ourselves to be like this shouldn't bother me. I should just be over it. And it's like, actually, no. If you find out where that came from, you'll understand why it's a big deal and then you can let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. God, that's so powerful. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I have appreciated this conversation and I knew that it would naturally flow, and you ladies are amazing. Do we have any final thoughts on the process before I ask where everyone can find you?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just anyone listening, I'm sure so many of you, this is probably resonating, and I hope it, if anything, it gives you that inspiration to know that you are good, that you are on a great journey, especially if you're here deciding that you want this change, you want to
Mm.
become this next version of yourself. Like this is normal to go through this, and it is okay, and you can give yourself that permission to do it messy, to just be brave, figure it out as you go, and allow yourself to receive what's meant for you and be open to the people who come in your life that will support you and be okay to, release those who are not. It can be an incredible journey if you allow it to be. And just always know there's people like us here who are there or we want to be there for you. We are here for you. So don't be afraid to lean on that if you need that.
That's
Yeah.
so great. I would say notice what you're noticing. Whether that is your feelings, whether that is something is making you uncomfortable, something's making you really happy and excited, whatever that is, it's all information and it is guiding you on the journey to what you need to do next. So to be able to take that, complete the circuit, take a breath and then do the next step, even if it's just a little check-in, like a 1 minute check-in, it's going to make such a difference in your life.
Mm, I love that. Just 1 minute. That's so validating. Like, oh, that's doable. I love it so much, and I totally agree. I think that we touched on so many juicy things, but like I just want to encourage people, it's okay to be a beginner and to like not know where to start in the process, because I think that we can be like so conditioned and so distracted by a myriad of things, but it can be hard to even like know what we want. And you might have heard us talking about like intuition and knowing what you want and clarity and alignment. And it's like that in itself can be a process and the first part of the journey. If you're not used to listening to your intuition or you don't even know what you want, then just starting to notice what you're noticing and like check in with yourself and let these things like come to the surface and figuring out like what do you actually want, that is part of the process. So if you feel like you're like not even there and you're like you don't even know where to start, like by wanting to start, you're doing it.
Hmm.
So I want to encourage us to like there's no perfect way of doing it that you're supposed to be measuring yourself against. Like as long as you're continuing to do it, you only fail when you give up and you stop trying. So as long as you're going, you're doing great.
I
All
love
right.
it.
I love this so much. Where can we find you, fabulous, empowering women?
With me, you can find me at marydibblecoaching.com. You can find my podcast there. I have an awesome free quiz that you can take that will like help you in that starting point of what's secretly holding you back and give you
Mm.
some really good next steps for you to embrace that and know who your strengths and your weaknesses. And of course, I always offer a free consultation for anyone who just wants to at least explore where they are, where they want to go, and whether or not partnering up together can help bridge that gap for you quicker. So, yeah, come visit me.
For me, I'm at igniteddecisions.com. I also have my podcast on there, my blog on there, everything that's connected to me, all the social medias is on my website. So igniteddecisions.com.
Love it. And I am Mary Beth with the Fierce Framework, my podcast, socials, it's all the Fierce Framework. So thank you so much
Awesome.
for joining us. I hope you got so much out of this episode. Can't wait to do this again next month.
So excited.
Me too. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe below, follow along, and always leave a comment. Tell me what was your favorite takeaway. What are some things that are coming up for you through these conversations? I really love to hear from my listeners and know that I'm always here for you. If anyone listening is ready to take action and really follow through and implement the goals that you set out for, as well as work on that mindset and really step into your full potential and the CEO of your life, then I invite you, schedule your free 1 hour limitless mom strategy call with me while they're available. And let's explore where you are, where you want to be, and how we can bridge that gap together. I can't thank you all enough for tuning in each week. Always remember, until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and keep believing in everything that is available for you, Mama. You are worthy, you deserve it, and I'm so grateful to be walking this journey alongside you. Much love.